Well, hello everyone. I have right here I'm talking about for the ticket moving forward right here, but you see right here that I was working on right here talking about for the president's speech right here, and most of us, if most of us can remember what the President Biden was talking about, but it sure seems that way that he wanted to add a "go get 'em" on in the speech, and also God bless America right here, and so it's like yeah, so a lot of things were kind of going through our minds about that, but it sure seems that way that when we do think about the president right here, and at 102 is to where that yeah that whenever you do think about politics, by the way, it sure seems that way that do you find a lot more work or less work, by the time you take office and by the time that night on election night and all that? So a lot of times you begin to wonder a lot about that too. But you're talking for special attention. But I also want to include right here. I'm talking about for get ready to rock and roll, and God bless America. And so you're wondering toward does God bless America come before or after, maybe a few of those other so far sayings, like such as is toward okay, yeah, yeah, God bless America or something like that, or it's something such as after the president says a few words about this and that, and you know, uh, thanks for watching, everyone. God bless you, and God bless America, and so something like that. But still, that how many of us will want to know too is to when he was talking about go get 'em, and you want to know too, how do you spell that? By the way, Mr. President, and so each time you do think about that, and want to know too that whenever you do hear the president talking a lot of times, that is he? I'm like, yeah, I talk about for the hard work for tomorrow and all that, but each time you do think about that in 102, is that yeah, that whenever the president is talking, that maybe some of that stuff may not even apply to you, especially if you are single, or maybe like everybody says that whenever you if you whenever you first started that you start out as a business, as a small business owner or something like that, or it could have been something else that you were doing, but still, it's like whenever you hear the president talking about something, that it seems like that a lot of times it's like Mr. President, that yeah, I'll take care of it. You just wait your turn or something like that. But still, that and half right here are talking about the idea this may take a while, and so half right here are talking about with the president's speech and everything. But you include right here for talk about for go get 'em, and so half the time you want to know too that first of all it's like you want to know too. How exactly do you spell that? And is it spelled with only one M or two M's or maybe even three M's or something like that? But everybody else might say is to word it, when we're talking about ticket, or if we're talking about tickets moving forward or something like that, and at 102 is to word, okay, yeah, is America spelt with only one M or two M's or something like that? But like everybody says that whenever you hear the president talking about something, and 102 is to where that go get 'em pretty much means is to where okay, let's get to work, everyone. Like yeah, this is the principal talking. This is supposed to be like yeah, you give it one more year and see how much progress was made and all that. But still, that you're always want to know too that whenever you listen to the president talking, Noah, that you might even think as to where that yeah, that that some of that stuff that he's talking about may not even apply to. I'm like, yeah, but and then also that that the things that he's talking about, like everybody might even say too, that number one, that whenever you do hear the president talking about something, and I was just thinking too, is to where that if you want to go ahead and include right here, talk about for get ready to rock and roll and God bless America. But let's just say that, yeah, whenever the president first took office, whenever he first was elected, for sure, exactly about what he's thinking about. But everybody might even say too is toward it, yeah, that. But whenever the president, like, and yeah, this. Yeah, this is not so I can include on here, like everybody might say, is toward, okay, yeah, that this is not the America I ordered them. So yeah, so it's like if we're talking about how many executive orders, and maybe if we're talking about, like everybody say, that how many executive orders were signed into law within the first of his term and all, but still, it's like if we're talking about that, yeah, I could put a space right here so that we can all see that. But talk about for executive order. I'm like, yeah, this is not the America that I ordered until I saw that proof. Until I saw that proof. So it's like everybody might even say too that whenever you do hear the president talking, by the way, it seems like as to where that yeah, that whenever you do read those articles, though, if it's going to be a still or a file or something like that, and U102 is that how do you even know if everything is even spelled correctly, and for any reason at all, why is it that that's play? I'm like, yeah, for go get them, and it's like so everybody was like 102 that yeah, so order number one. So like, let's just say that if the president did say something like that, to where that during his speech, if he said something like, order, made in America number one or something like that. But let's just say that, yeah, for order, order for the, like, yeah, order for, or order for the U.S. or something like that. Order for the USA or something like that. And so, like, everybody might even say too that yeah, that to order for the USA or something like that. But after he gets done with saying a few words and all that, in 102 is that yeah, go get 'em. Okay, do we even know how to spell that number one? Could also basically mean is to where that yeah, the president is pretty much telling us is that okay, yeah, make the words bigger or smaller or something like that. Like everybody 102 that how exactly does that look like that? If you move it around like that, right? People 102 that yeah, that you go ahead and move it around like that. Yeah, go get them and all that. Like on how many M's and like for go get them or something like that. But you're always 102 that whenever after the president says a few words and everything, and half the time it sure seems that way, that what he's basically saying is to where that God bless America, but then also what he's kind of saying is that yeah, get ready to rock and roll. Let's get to work, everyone. And so it's like if you want to kind of look at it that way, to where that whenever you're going to be watching the president talking, it's like, rock and roll. I'm like, well, rock and roll pretty much means is to where that you're rocking and then you're rolling, right? But like everybody else might even say too that it could rock and roll also mean get to work. Okay, let's get to work, everybody. We got more work to do or something like that. But it's like yeah, rock and roll. So it's like so every time you do think about that, and you want to know too that special attention opportunity for next Friday or something like that. But God bless America. This is not the America that I wanted. So yeah, a lot of things like it. People say whenever you do watch the president's speech, but at the time you're like 102 that okay, yeah, that you go ahead and write in about 4 or 5 or maybe 13 words right here, but you're 102. What does that mean? Is this supposed to be a verb or a noun or any source of independent cause or something like that, or action verbs or something like that? They're pronouns or genres, and so it's like you're 102 that okay, yeah, go get 'em, get ready to rock and roll, and so it's like yeah, for talk about for rocking and rolling or something like that. But still, it's like whenever you do think about that, for go get 'em, and like you say that yeah, well, we all pretty much know what that means. Like, and yeah, let's get to work, everyone, or something like that. But still, that I really think in a lot of ways. Number of times I've heard that in 102 that go get 'em, and you 102 that how do you even spell it, by the way, and then also. What does that really even mean, by the way? And so, like everybody might say that, you didn't really hear the president saying, "Go easier on me" or something like that, or you don't really hear like the president was saying this toward like, yeah, that still that give our U.S. military the great, great ability or something like that, but still that. But whenever you do think about that in a lot of ways, it sure seems that way, is to where that yeah, the president was actually after him talking for about an hour and 15 minutes about the things that he was wanting to talk about for sure, and it everybody says to where that's another way of how you say coaching the football team for sure. Football team, or if it's the basketball team or something like that. And it's like say is to where it's like to where it okay everybody give it your best try or something like that. Let's get to work, everyone. And so it sure seems that way. If you would include like let's get to work, and then all this other like yeah everything else about his speech and everything. But it's like so every time you do think about that, and you 102 that is the president. I'm like yeah, so whenever the president does make his speech about something, and 102 is to where that yeah this may take a while, and he starts talking about a couple of things, but I would like to know too is to where that Mr. President that what about the things that you've been spending a lot of time at home with? You've been spending a lot of time maybe working and maybe at home in 102 that a lot of stuff that you spend a lot of home, like yeah, especially if it's going to be in your studio, maybe in your own bedroom, and like everybody may 102 that there's a type of name for that, talking about you spend a lot of time there in your own personal office in your own bedroom, and 102 is to where that do you think that there will be jobs that will be willing to pay you a decent amount? Like yeah, for any, I'm like yeah, like everybody say that anything personal for sure, and so it sure seems that way that you tell Mr. the president is to where that anything personal. Yeah, anything personal, can be appropriate or something like that. So it's like, yeah, anything personal. So it's like, so half the time it seems like, whenever you do hear the president talking about something, and at 102 is to where that, yeah, that he's speaking to the crowd. He's speaking to the crowd, and whenever he does speak to the crowd, he's telling everybody to don't be too shy to speak up about something, but anything personal. But everybody says to where that really, what are you doing in your bedroom, by the way? You know, bedroom or office? And, bedroom, you know, your office. People might say is toward it. That's usually, yeah, or in your garage, like everybody might say that the basement or the garage. And I mean, I really don't know. Like everybody might say, it could be a variety. It could be a variety, but like everybody say, if you're going to be in either of those, both of those locations, or either of those locations in 102, that yeah, you know, not everybody is able to see what you're working on if you're going to spend so much time in those locations. And like I say, that you'll hear about, you know, President Biden, you know, before he was elected president, like, you know, yeah, that was his little hangout, you know, that was his hangout area or some, you know, his hangout, but, you know, location. But still, that, but we're talking about is that, you know, everybody might even say too that, you know, you tell them the story about that, you know, you get a job, maybe within maybe a year later, and find out that, you know, you spent a lot of time in your bedroom while you were working on that. You spent a lot of time in your office working on that. You spent a lot of time in your garage or your basement working on that. And people may want to know too that that Mr. President, you could also talk about that a lot of things that you work on at home, you bring it to work, and then people may want to know too that you would like to get promoted. You're waiting to get this promotion just by something that you're working on from home. And you want to know too, Mr. President, you know, whenever we're at home, by the way, that we're also working on something, and you want to know too, do you really consider that to be what you call something, you know, made in America, or something that you're doing, you know, in America, or something like that? So it's like, so each time you do think about that, and people want to know too that the first thing that you're thinking about is that, okay, how do you spell it, and what does that even mean? But it's like, you know, yeah, you're going to be hanging around in your bedroom a lot, in your office, or even in your garage or your basement a lot of times, even your backyard. But you know, still, it's like, you know, you want to know too that, you know, yeah, ticket moving forward, go get them. And so each time you do think about that, it's like, you know, yeah, God bless America. Does God bless America come before or after you say, go get them, or get ready to rock and roll, or something like that? But each time you do think about that, and want to know too that, you know, after you talk for about maybe a half an hour to an hour about a lot of things, and want to know too is that, you know, yeah, you know, how do you even spell it? Like, well, if there's really a proper way of how to spell it, or a meaning of some sort, but like everybody might say is towards another way of how you want to call it is to where, let's get to work, and hard work tomorrow, you know. So it's like, you know, so a lot of times it's like everybody might say that, you look at all this right here and 102, the hard work tomorrow, and like, yeah, you know, you want to go ahead and make that in permanent ink, or, you know, so we're that way we can see it right there. But still, how do you even spell it? And somebody might say is to word it, you know, yeah, I spell it with two M's usually, but sometimes I spell it with three M's. And you know, like everybody says to word it, are you really going to spell it? Like saying is to where to go. Go get, go and get, or something like that. So it's like, you know, yeah. So each time you do think about that, yeah, go get, go on get, go on get. So it's like, yeah. So it's like everybody might even say that a syllable synonyms. I'm like, yeah. So whenever you do think about the type of language, by the way, in 102 is to where it's another way, I guess, if you want to call it, it's another way of how you're trying to get your audience to cheer for you. I guess you talk about, yeah, for cheers. And and I guess if you want to look at it that way, that cheers. And it's all about trying to get your team. Yeah, it's all about, from whenever you used to play football, by the way. It's like, that was another way of saying this to where, come on, give it our best try or something like that. Or let's, yeah, go get 'em, let's get to work. And so each time you do think about that 102, yeah, well, cheers. I know what that means. Let's come together and let's celebrate, or let's give it our best try or something like that. But go on get, and then you got right here, go get 'em right here. And so whenever you do think about that, and when I'm like, yeah, does that come before or after God Bless America? And usually it's after, but like everybody say, God Bless America. But still, in case if anybody's 102, that you go ahead and add that right there. And people 102, they go ahead and put that right here. Run out of space right here, go ahead and put that right there, where we can all read that right there. But until I saw the proof or something like that. But this is not the America that I ordered, but whenever I got elected, but something like that. But still, that until I saw that proof. And but still, I didn't have it. I didn't have it easy. I did not have it easy. When was it ever easy? Number one, like everybody might even say too, that whenever you first start working on something, by the way, it seems like it's a lot easier whenever you watch somebody else do it, right? But whenever you're talking about easy, whenever you're like, well, yeah, for sure, not everybody's really gonna want to mess with it, by the way. The more harder it gets. So, like, it sure seems that way that, yeah, I did not have it this easy. This is not, I'm like, yeah, made in America or something like that. But, half the time you're always 102 that whenever you do speak about hard meets harder. What does that even mean? Yeah, hard meets harder. People may 102 that, what? What are you talking about? Like, well, hard meets harder. Hard meets harder meaning is this to where that there's a lot more to it than what you thought or something like that. But like, it sure seems that way that every time you do think about that, you start working on something for sure. Hard meets harder, and you want to. It's the exact same thing. What's the difference? But still, get ready to rock and roll. And so it's like, yeah, so every time you do think about that, the more work you put into it for sure. And you look back at all that work that you do on something, and that you 102 is toward it, yeah. You learn something every day, but every time I do think about that, and you're always 102, is to where that, if you had everything not, real smooth and simple for sure, what would you really learn about it? But every time you think about that in 102, you go and highlight that. Hard meets harder right here. Do you think that maybe your English teacher would really better explain to you what that means right there? Like, say, it doesn't mean rock and roll. What it means is to where that I would like to, show you something. And, I would like to, show you, something special, a trick or some kind, or, meets harder right here. So it's like, so a lot of times everybody else would maybe ask you is to where if you can kind of break that down into different sections right here to where it help everybody understand that a little bit more, like make it a little bit shorter, like a hard meets harder right here. I did not have it this easy right here. So if you were to, you might find that some of this stuff maybe on a resume or like, maybe even on a job description, but it sure seems that way that, how do you usually handle that when you find a lot more work than what you thought there was? You're there, like everybody say that, yeah, this right here, oh yeah, this looks pretty simple right here. Look at a page right here and all this wording right here. But then whenever you look over here, it's like, what the? I don't get it. So each time you do think about that, and you always want to know too that you first start working on something for sure that everybody might say is toward that they get ready to rock and roll. I didn't go to school to learn all this. This is not the America that I ordered, and so it's like so each time you do think about that, and you want to know too that for your voices to be heard and all that, but people might say is toward it, yeah. It was a lot harder than what I thought it was, or if you had everything all nice and simple and easy for sure. But every time you do think about that, you're always want to know too that why is it that when you start working on something that you just really whenever it becomes harder for sure, that's around the time like everybody might say is to where you continue working for that reason. Just because that you are anxious, you are anxious to know. You are curious to know what happens next. So I can put that on here too. That. So what happens? What happens next? So next. Everybody might even say too that that's usually the case. By the way. You continue working just because you're wanting to know what happens next. Okay, next. Yeah, and I can be honest with everybody here too. That from based on my experience, by the way, that everybody might even say too that you continue working on something. By the way, if you were to tell everybody that you are very curious to know what happens next, besides. If something gets to be too boring or maybe too confusing to be able to help you understand or something like that, but really, if you were to actually put this into like an English, to like a language right here, and 102, that, hard meets harder next. So if you were to show somebody something for sure, even if it's a cookbook, that why would you want to quit on something now? Like you go ahead and show the work to everybody in progress, and like I say is to where that somebody's going to say that they're willing to work harder on something if they're curious to know what happens next. And that's usually why I put it like God bless America right here. But this is not the America that I ordered. Whenever I was elected president, by the way, that I thought the rules and requirements about being commander in chief were really all about is toward it, being known for the famous landmarks or something like that, or anything like everybody say if you were to get in any sorts of political reasons, but still, like everybody might say, if you want to be a part of history or something like that. But it's like, history. I mean, I can include that right here too. Like everybody say that a lot of teachers, by the way, might even say that if you can add, I'm trying to add a little bit more right here. Everybody might say that, so we can all read this right here. But be a part of history right here. I'll include right here. Be a part, history, and you make make history. What does that even mean? Make history so that you may even say that, you might even say that whenever you first start working on something that you want to make history, and that's maybe going to be the first thing that you think about whenever you first start putting together a portfolio or a resume, is that you're trying to make history, and you're trying to make something real and trying to make progress, right? And a lot of times it's like, yeah, you're trying to make history. And so a lot of candidates would maybe say that, like you want to make history. And so you would maybe put that on a resume for sure. You would put that on a resume, but like everybody else might even say too, that what does that even mean whenever you say make history? Does that mean be a part of history, or you would like to show somebody something that you put together, like, yeah, something that you learned that you would like to have displayed in one of those museums? I'm like, so yeah, so really, not everybody has really asked me that question. If you want to make history, where would you even start? For sure that, like everybody say that, you would want to, maybe if you would want to put that, include that on your resume. You want to make history. And but talk about for rock and roll right here. You'll get ready to rock and roll. God bless America. This is not the American number. So yeah. So it's like, so each time you do think about that and you want to, yeah, go get them right here. But tougher for cheers. But I just really think in a lot of ways that, until I saw the privilege of that, but I did not have it this easy. And so it's like easier for everybody to really understand, right? But it's like everybody might say that maybe if a lot of it has also to do with the money, and then also that whenever it comes to showing somebody your ability for what you can do, right? But you know, uh, you're gonna, yeah, you're gonna hear that a lot of times about, make history, but you're 102 that make history, make money. Yeah, if you have a desire to make a lot of money, but tell everybody that, how often do you really hear make history? I could probably tell everybody too that, from all the categories that I would maybe pick, I would probably say that besides the money, I would probably say that make history. And, I really think that maybe if that's really what's really about, is about making history. That from based on your research right here and based on your work, you're showing everybody the work that yeah, you're looking back at the past, right? And you actually see the work from what you put together for the better, for the future, right? And so it's like, you want to know too that why can't you use it on a resume to where that you really make history very well, besides make money, like but still it's like you make history. And I can tell you one thing, everybody, that I would actually rate make history, like if you want to go ahead and rate that a certain percent or something like that, if you want to go ahead and make history, I can rate that an 80%, score of an 80% right there for make history, than compared to make money. I'll tell everybody, if I can maybe rate that right there, I could probably say 30% of it talks about making money, but then 80% of that, equals to where make history. And so I guess what you're kind of saying is to where that whenever you make history, that's more likely. I'll tell everybody that maybe that should be worth more than compared to the making money portion. But that's just my opinion about it. But everybody might even say too that if you would actually do the studies about that and want to know too that why is it that make history is not, yeah, you hardly ever hear, you hardly ever see that on a job description. And you want to know too that why isn't that on a resume or on a job description? You make history. And people might say that, really, how can that really be done? For sure, you be a part of history. We're talking about 10 years from now, that a lot of that stuff, a lot of that information is going to be needed for sure, just to show to everybody about what you were able to, what you put together, what you learned and everything. So you want to know too that why can't you put that on a resume? Make history bright and stuff like besides make money and all that, but everybody might say is to where that talk about monitor and all that, but still, go get them. What does that even mean? I can, but still, let's get to work. But anyway, but talk about right here, like for God Bless America. So does that come before or after? Go get 'em, or does that come before? Like everybody say, usually, it's God Bless America, and then it's go get 'em. But at the same time, it's like, hard meets harder. Next. But at the time, it's like, you think about that and like, and I saw that proof until I saw that proof, and until so it's like you look at these words in 102 that question mark, exclamation point, maybe a parentheses or something like that, and so it's like everybody might even say too that you start talking about something for sure. You don't say something like rock and roll, but like everybody might say is to where get ready to rock and roll. I got a question for you. God bless America. Hey, I got a question for you. So it's like, so in case if anybody has not seen it before, for sure, you're gonna maybe say it to where you say something and for sure, God bless America. And, somebody's going to say, hey, I got a question for you. And, this is not, hey, I got another question for you. Get ready to, I got a question for you. So it's like, so every time you do think about that, and people want to know too that, that's one way of how you get your audience to speak up. And, so it's like, but every time you do think about go get them, people are going to maybe 102 that, for sure. Go ahead and put a question mark right there because not everybody knows what that means right there for go get 'em. My English teacher, by the way, would probably say too that, that's not a word right there. That's just another word for cheers. Cheers, okay? Cheers. Okay. Like, come on, let's huddle up or something like that. I'm like, so at the time, people want to know too that really, what does that even mean? And, how do you even spell it, by the way? It's like, if it's supposed to be with an N and with an M or something, go get 'em, or something like, go get 'em, go get 'em, go get 'em. But, still, it's like, see anybody say is toward it, how do you even spell it, by the way? But the way I think about it, too, is that, whenever you do think about the words of the saying, right there, like, for anything personal, right, for cheers, but it's like, say, talk about for go get 'em, right here, a ticket moving forward, go get 'em. So is that supposed to be like, maybe like a little pound, like a little booster? Whichever you call it, but still at the same time, like everybody else might even say too that and an honor roll or something like that, something is to where that just to be able to get your team on a roll, just to be able to get your team on a roll, that go get them, I'm like, see you in 15, I'm like, 15 minutes or something like that, but at the same time that you're thinking is toward it, I have absolutely no idea what that even means, but at the same time, that's what the president said. But still, everybody might even want to know too that whenever you do think about that, and want to know too that whenever we do think about the president and thinking as toward it, Mr. President, that that not everybody is perfect, but still that whenever you do think about stuff like this, and you're always want to know too is toward it that something easier for somebody to understand for sure, but you're thinking is toward it, yeah, that for moving forward or something like that. But you're thinking too is toward it, yeah, that special attention. But after you listen to the president talking, by the way, that he was talking about a lot of things. By the way, talking about the senior citizens and then the prescription drug cost and the war. I'm like, the wars and all that other stuff and all that. But pay, teachers and about our firemen and our police and all that, and then also other things that he was talking about. But still, it's like your 102 is to where that if you go back toward to the third grade, your 102 is to where that a lot of these words, a lot of these words that you 102, that a few of them are not even in the dictionary, by the way. And your 102 is to where, Mr. President, that what are you going to do with all these words right here? Because go get 'em is not even in the dictionary, by the way. If you were to look it up in 102, you can go and just add it to the dictionary, if anything. So the next time you get on Word or Excel file or something like that, you can go ahead and just add "go get 'em" right here in 102. Go get 'em. You go ahead and spell that, even on a document right here. Go ahead and spell that and see what you come up with. And 102, that if it's not in a dictionary for sure, you can go and add it to the dictionary, because by 2023 for sure, by next year, and maybe he's going to say is to where that it's not going to be, it may not even be spelt the same way. What it's going to be spelt with is toward it, it's going to maybe be spelt with two T's this time or something like that. But still, everybody might say is toward it, go get 'em, and underline that. Go get 'em and go ahead and underline that. People want to know too that, okay, go get 'em and go ahead and underline that or something like that. Go get 'em and underline that, and people want to know too though. Go get what? Like go get 'em, and so if I can go ahead, I'm like, if I can underline that, I'm like, with the underline or something like that. But still, tell everybody that I'm like, go and underline that. But anyway, but go get them right here. So it's like, if you were to underline that in 102, really, what does that even mean right there? But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. And like I say, one thing that I can maybe too is like, it pretty much means is to where that it's another way of saying is to where it's a booster. Like it's just say that like, let's get to work, everybody. But in a lot of ways, I just really think, like everybody say, that whenever you do a spell check, by the way, that you want to know too is that there are some words in a dictionary, by the way, that were not, that they weren't there before. So it's like if it's supposed to be an honor, or if it's supposed to be a word that you came up with, or just a nickname for what you came up with. Talk about for the hard work and progress for Build Back Better or something like that. Everybody might say that. How do you usually handle that? Whenever, if a word is not spelt, it's not in a dictionary, by the way. So it's like, if you were to say "go get 'em," and let's just say if you were to type that on a Word document, you more likely it would probably tell you that it's not spelled correctly, unless if you go ahead and put it into, unless if you program it into a word such as PowerPoint or something like that. Program that and like 102, see what you come up with. But go get them. And so it's like you 102 that the words that are in the dictionary and all that. But still, for Build Back Better, right? But anyway, talk about President's speech, right? But anyway, anything talk about for ticket moving forward, you say for go get them. Let's get to work, everybody. Yeah. Let's get to work. Hard work for tomorrow, right here. But Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.